my profile. I don't see what the big deal is.
The big deal, Matt, is that you and your friends are not the only ones who use the internet. College admissions people, your teachers, and other adults see this stuff. And if you put something stupid or obscene on there, it will follow you forever.
Forever? Get real, Dad.
Bye, Mom. Bye, Dad. Wish me luck.
Good luck on that test, Jada.
Although you won't need it. Goodbye.
You'd never know it looking at her now, what we went through last spring.
I can't believe we didn't catch on to how depressed she was. That was a really scary time. I had no idea how much pressure she was under.
We're just not sure we can trust you, and you've given us plenty of reason not to.
How many times do I have to say I'm sorry? I'm not hanging out with those guys anymore, so I'm not drinking anymore. Besides, I can't afford it anyway since you guys cut my allowance and everything else.
Hey, you're lucky that's all we did. I'm not ready for you to go to another concert yet anyway.
But Dad, you don't know how much this means to me. This is my favorite band and everyone's going.
We're sorry, but we're doing this because we care about you. And we don't want to see you get hurt.
You think you can just keep me here? Or you think wrong?
Sometimes it seems like only yesterday when they were playing with toy boats in the safe harbor of a bathtub under a parent's watchful eye. Then all of a sudden, they're teenagers setting out in boats of their own, where the sailing isn't so smooth. Hello and welcome to the third edition of Active Parenting of Teens, a program designed to help you and your teens not only survive adolescence, but to help you enjoy these years and bring your family closer together. I'm Michael Popkin, the founder of Active Parenting, and as the father of two young adults, Megan and Ben, I'm no stranger to the challenges of parenting teenagers. You know, I've always loved the image of a ship heading out to sea. It holds such promise of hope and adventure. Like this model of the royal warship Vasa. The Vasa was built in Sweden in 1628. Its upper deck of cannons made it one of the most formidable warships ever built. The king, the nobles, and all the citizens of Stockholm that turned out for the launch expected great things from the Vasa. But less than a mile into its maiden voyage, it hit some high winds and stormy seas, promptly capsized, and went to the bottom of the sea, where it remained for nearly 350 years. We all know that the world is full of risks for ships and for teenagers. How do we protect our sons and daughters and prepare them to cope with the dangers and responsibilities they'll face as they enter the adult world? And how do we help bring out the positive potential that will enable them to survive, to thrive, and to make real contributions to their families and communities? One of the answers to these questions can be found in the story of the Vasa. What caused this great ship to capsize was a lack of ballast in the hull. Ballast, you might know, is the weight put in the bottom of a ship to give it stability as it rides through the water. But there's another definition of the word ballast. It's also defined as that which gives stability to character. Qualities like courage, responsibility, cooperation, and respect are the ballast that give your teenager the emotional stability to withstand the storms of adolescence and beyond. Yes, this program will help your teen behave well and achieve success. It will help you enjoy your time together as a family. But as important as these things are, we want to go further and help you instill in your teen the character and values that underlie positive behavior and lead to a meaningful life. We want to help you give your teens ballast. Now, I'd like to introduce you to our narrator, Daphne Maxwell-Reid, who'll give you a closer look at what's in store for you in the sessions ahead.
Hello, I'm Daphne Maxwell-Reid, and we'll be working together throughout the 6 sessions of Active Parenting of Teens. Earlier editions of this program have already helped over 1 million families, and it'll help you too, as you and your teens set out to navigate the sometimes stormy seas of adolescence. I'm so glad to be hosting Active Parenting of Teens, because I know how much this program is needed. I've personally experienced some of these challenges of adolescence in a couple of ways. First, in the make-believe world of TV, on shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where I played Aunt Vivian to a street-smart teenager played by Will Smith. Then, I've been a real mom to 3 teenagers, and let me tell you, that's a lot tougher. Because in real life, parenting doesn't come with a script. So let's look at the 6 dynamic sessions of active parenting of teens a little closer. In session 1, The Active Parent, we'll begin discussing the challenges that today's parents and teens face, and you'll learn what your teen will need to survive and thrive in the 21st century. You'll also learn about different parenting styles and how you can be an active leader in your family instead of a reactive dictator or doormat. Session 2, Winning Cooperation, will help you develop the communication skills to become an approachable parent, the kind of parent your teen will want to turn to for help when a problem arises. While instilling courage and self-esteem, you'll learn how to help your teen develop the problem-solving skills needed throughout life. And by the way, the communication skills you will develop will not only help you be a more effective parent, but will also help you be more effective at work and in all your other relationships too. Session 3 is where you'll learn respectful methods of discipline and problem solving that also serve as opportunities to teach your teen responsibility. You'll learn a model for understanding how your teen thinks, feels, and behaves, and how to help your teenager move into success cycles and stay there. In Session 4, Building Courage, Redirecting Misbehavior, we'll teach you how to recognize why teens behave the way they do and how to redirect your teen towards better behavior. You'll practice 4 methods of turning discouragement into encouragement to help build your teen's courage and self-esteem. And you'll also learn a method of anticipating and preventing problems before they happen that will save you and your teen hours of frustration and conflict. Sessions 5 and 6 form a 2-part unit called Drugs, Sexuality, and Violence, Reducing the Risks. You'll learn to recognize the hazards of teenage life today: tobacco, alcohol, and other drugs, inappropriate sexuality, and violence. We've designed this unit around 10 invaluable strategies you can use to prevent your teen from getting involved with these harmful activities, and what to do if they already have. You'll notice that the families you'll be getting to know in the video reflect some of the beautiful diversity that is part of our modern society. Of course, what we've learned in over 25 years of producing parenting programs is that families are much more alike than they are different. So if the families you see portrayed here do not look or sound exactly like your family, you can be sure that most of the issues they face are similar to yours, and that all of the skills that we present will be just as helpful for your family as they are for theirs. This program is for all parents and caregivers, no matter what kind of family you have. The bottom line is that active parenting of teens will help you strengthen your parenting skills so you can strengthen your teenager's character and help them emerge from these turbulent years as successful young adults. Yes, you've got a challenge ahead of you, but with good information and the support of your program leader and the other parents in your group, we can help you and your teen map a safe and well-charted course.
Do I have to tell you to take out the garbage? This room is a mess. And why aren't you doing your homework? What is with you?
What's with me? I'll tell you what's with me. Adolescence is with me. Scientists tell us that adolescence is a period of rapid, intense physiological and psychological growth, fueled by a rapid explosion of hormones gone wild. We get all this body hair, our shoulders get broader, and our voices get deeper. That is, deepening of the voice. Not only that, these overactive little hormones can cause sudden mood changes and the emergence of sexual desire. In addition, brain growth during adolescence is enormous. In fact, scientists have discovered that between the ages of 11 and 14, there occurs the most growth in gray matter since infancy.
Of course, this growth occurs earlier in girls, so we have a head start. but in both cases it's followed by a series of pruning that lasts all the way to your mid-20s. Brain connections that are used grow stronger, while those that are not used are pruned back and lost.
Sort of a use it or lose it system that turbocharges the brain.
This pruning occurs from back to front of the brain, starting with the part of the brain that controls physical coordination, sensory processing, and then on to the part of the brain that controls motivation, and then on to the seat of emotion. And last, but certainly not least, this pruning process reaches the executive center of the brain. That's the part that handles, among other things, judgment, empathy, evaluating consequences, impulse control, and morality.
I'm still waiting for that one to kick in.
Tell me about it, perv.
Which reminds me, we like to use our new abilities on each other in the form of insults. Isn't that right, Miss Perfect?
That's right, monkey breath. We like to practice our new skills as social critics for everything that's not up to our standard. In fact, we get so fond of our new intellectual abilities that we often argue just for the sake of arguing.
Which is a pretty cool way to drive parents and other adults crazy.
Did you mention that psychologically this is a period of intense stress? We want to establish our own identities independent from our parents, yet still want support and approval from them.
And speaking of stress, how do you think it feels to have a fully functioning reproductive system complete with sexual desire, yet be told not to use any of this valuable equipment until you're older?
And don't forget the intense temptation and even pressure to experiment with alcohol and other drugs.
Not to mention the stress of constantly changing peer groups. And where do I fit in? And who likes who? And will anyone ever go out with me?
And will this body ever fully develop? And will I ever get a date? And what if that sweet guy I've been flirting with in the chat room turns out to be a 40-year-old weirdo?
And what if I never get a date and turn into a 40-year-old weirdo picking up teenagers in a chat room?
But what if I do meet someone I like? What about sex? Should I wait? And what if I do it? What if I get pregnant or an STD?
And what about keeping your grades up so you can get into a good college?
Or get a good job?
And meanwhile, you're not sure you can even make it through high school. After all, 25% of us don't.
And who can think about school when there's so much else on our minds, like problems at home?
Family violence, drug abuse, and alcoholism, or just having parents that are never around. 60% of us live in homes hit by separation and divorce.
Depression.
500,000 teenagers in this country attempt suicide every year.
And to top it off, we live in a society that acts like it doesn't want or need teenagers anyway. Do you know what it's like to feel so unneeded?
It feels like you want to join a gang just so you can fit in somewhere. It's no wonder most of us try and grow up too fast these days. It's
tough being a teenager.
I said, what's with you?
Nothing.
I don't think this is a good idea. Maybe we should get back to the party.
Later. Right now, the bar is open. Cheers. Come on, drink up.
Are you sure Steve doesn't mind us being in his room?
Nah, he gave me the vodka. He gave me this too.
A condom?
Yeah, you believe in safe sex, don't you?
I don't believe in sex at all right now.
You're just saying that because you think you're supposed to.
No, it's just... Well, we've only gone out twice for one thing.
Yeah, well, that's enough time for you to know if you want to. You said you liked me, didn't you?
Yeah, but...
Show me how much. You're being such a tease.
No, stop it. I don't want to do this.
Look what you did! You spilled my drink all over Steve's bed.
Forget it. I'm out of here.
This scene with Matt and Julie may strike some parents as exceptional. Others may see it as pretty mild. The truth is, a lot of scenes like this end worse. Teenage use of alcohol and other drugs is everywhere. Teenage sexual activity is also on the rise and starting younger each year. And every day, you read or hear about violent acts committed by teenagers. Any one of these three issues is enough to be concerned about because a wrong decision can have a life-altering effect for everyone involved. But combine any of these high-risk behaviors, and the result can be disastrous. A teenage boy who usually knows the limits of decent behavior gets drunk and suddenly thinks nothing of trashing a house or taking sexual advantage of a girl. Or a girl who usually has good sense gets high on drugs, forgets about birth control, and finds herself pregnant. Or she gets a sexually transmitted disease, even AIDS. And what about the two in the school hallway who feel like the only way to solve a problem is with their fists? All too often, fists become knives and guns, and kids start taking sides, joining gangs, and teenagers are getting killed. Is your teen at risk? The teens we asked certainly think so. Our surveys are filled with comments like these.
I think drugs are the most serious problem teens face today. You could find them everywhere, and it's not just the burnouts that are doing them. I mean, if you go to a party and a kid's parents aren't home, there's all kinds of stuff. And then these kids drive home. It's pretty bad.
Bullies are a big problem, especially online. There's this girl, she killed herself after someone posted a fake personal webpage pretending to be her. Most cases aren't that bad, but I see it all the time. There's this guy at school. His dad's gay. And when people found out, they made fun of him until he just stopped coming to school. People can be so cruel. No one does anything to stop it.
I'd say violence is a real problem. I'm not just talking about fist fight either. There are these gangs in my neighborhood, and it doesn't stop at the school doors, if you know what I mean. For those guys, violence is like a part of their image. I try to stay out of their way, because if you don't, you might end up with a knife or a gun to your face. It's pretty scary stuff.
Sex is a big deal. Definitely sex. So many kids have gone sex crazy. And not just boys either. I know girls that brag about how many guys they've done it with. And half of them don't even use birth control or condoms, which is crazy when you think about getting pregnant or how common STDs are.
Because every teen today is at risk, it's good to know that the skills you'll be learning in this program will help you keep your teen safe. And because your role in prevention begins with your relationship with your teen, we will pay particular attention to building up that relationship throughout the program.
Alex, do you have any idea what time it is?
No, not really.
And what in the world are you thinking sneaking around like this? You know the rules. 10 o'clock on weeknights, 12:30 on weekends. It's 1:30. You have no excuse for being out.
12:30 is for kids. I'm 16 years old and I'm old enough to come in when I want to.
Not as long as you live under our roof.
It's no big deal.
No big deal? Well, maybe you think being grounded for 4 weeks is a big deal.
Yeah, right. That's gonna prove a lot. I can't wait till I'm out of here for good.
Fine, but until then, you will do what we say. Is that understood?
Yeah, it's understood.
Good. Now you get your butt to bed and you don't move until morning.
Let's face it, teens are going to test the limits that adults set for them from time to time. How we respond, not react, but respond, has a lot to do with what they learn from the experience and how they behave in the future. Although each parent has their own unique style of leadership in the family, we can group them into 3 general categories. We just saw an example of the autocratic style of parenting, or what we call the dictator. It can be represented as a tight circle in which the parent allows very little freedom to the teen, attempting to over-control the situation with harsh words and punishment. This dictator style was standard in parenting throughout thousands of years of human history and worked pretty well as long as a society was run by kings, emperors, and other dictators. But since the purpose of parenting is to protect and prepare children to survive and thrive in the kind of society in which they live now, in our democratic society, Dictator-style parenting is no longer effective. Dad's autocratic style in that last vignette only serves to increase the stress between him and Alex. When we act like a dictator, using anger and punishment to force the teen into obeying our authority, we often find ourselves in a full-fledged power struggle. The more we push, the more they rebel. Unfortunately, too many parents have gone to the other extreme and adopted a permissive style of parenting, behaving like doormats and letting their teens walk all over them. This style can be shown as a zigzag line representing freedom without limits. Parents using a doormat style of parenting do not seem to realize that because the executive center of the teenage brain is still developing, teens aren't ready to make all their own decisions. Parents need to monitor and stay actively involved in their teens' lives, more actively than the next example shows.
It's almost noon. Think we should wake Alex up? He said he was going to help me clear out the garage this morning.
Well, it is Saturday. You know how grumpy he gets when we don't let him sleep in on the weekends.
Yeah, that's a teenager for you.
I am a little worried about how late he's been staying out. Heard him come in last night. It was almost 3.
3, huh? That is pretty late. Maybe we should talk to him.
Yeah, maybe.
Dad's permissive parenting style in that last scene means that they permitted their son Alex to have too much freedom. Teens need to have curfews, and parents need to be awake when they come home in order to enforce those curfews. When parents behave as doormats, letting teens take advantage of them, nobody wins. Fortunately, there's a third style of parenting that works much better in our modern democratic society. It's called the authoritative or active style of parenting because the parent takes a proactive leadership role in the family rather than just reacting to problems as they occur or ignoring them. We can show this active style as a zigzag line with a circle around it, representing freedom within limits, because it recognizes that children and teens need both freedom and limits in order to develop well. In fact, we can really say freedom within expanding limits, because as the teen matures, the parents back off gradually, allowing more and more freedom. See what other differences you notice between the active style of parenting and the dictator and doormat styles we've already seen as we watch how mom and dad handle the need for a curfew more effectively.
Time to check again. Alex?
What's up?
We've been checking your room every 15 minutes and calling your cell phone to make sure you got home safely.
Alex, we've been worried sick tonight about you.
You don't have to worry. I've told you before, I can take care of myself.
That's not the point. Your curfew is 12:30 and now it's after 1:30. Now, it's been a long night, so we'll talk about this in the morning. Good night. Alex, you sneaking out last night is a big problem for your mother and me.
I know, I just didn't think...
We need to be able to trust you, Alex.
Yeah.
We were worried that something might have happened to you.
Mom, nothing is going to happen to me.
Don't be so sure. Bad things happen to teenagers every day. Plus, it's much more dangerous late at night when there are a lot of drunk drivers on the road.
Yeah, and what were you doing?
Just riding with my friends.
Now, I know you feel you're old enough to come and go when you want, but the fact is you're not. For 2 more years until you go to college or to work, those 2 years are going to be important for you to mature so you can better make decisions when you're out on your own. Now that's why we have a curfew. And we all talked about it and we agreed that 12:30 was fair on the weekends.
But some of the other guys don't have any curfew on weekends.
Well, no curfew is unacceptable, for many of the reasons your mother already said.
If your friends can stay out, I don't mind if you invite them to come over for a while. You can hang out in your room or outside if the weather's nice and you're not too noisy.
But I don't want to hang out here. It's cool driving around.
I understand. When I was 16, I wanted to do the same thing, if you can believe that. But it's not an option after 12:30. You can either come home by yourself by that time or invite your friends over.
I guess it's better than nothing.
Now let's talk about a consequence for sneaking out and not picking up your cell phone. Alex, we agreed on a rule and you broke it. I think a fair consequence should be not going out for the next 2 weekends. Do you have any other suggestions?
Preparing teens to live responsibly in a diverse democratic society means helping them to learn to treat others respectfully and to expect that they will be treated respectfully by others. Children and teens who learn these lessons first at home are in a good position to succeed outside the home. Unfortunately, the way we sometimes talk to our teens or allow them to talk to us is anything but respectful.
Yo. Listen, girl.
Jada! Jada! It is so disrespectful for you to ignore me like this. When I talk to you, I expect you to listen. Now, if you don't clean up this room this instant, you're in big trouble. Do you understand me, young lady?
If you had trouble recognizing Mother's autocratic parenting style as disrespectful, take a look at this next example.
Mom! It is so disrespectful for you to ignore me like this. When I talk, I expect you to listen. Now, if you don't take me to the mall right this instant, you're going to be in big trouble. Do you understand me, middle-aged woman?
There's no doubt about being disrespectful that time, was there? And although these scenes may seem a little exaggerated, teens and their parents do unfortunately sometimes speak to each other like this and worse. Our goal as active parents is to model respect to our teens and to require them to talk to us and others respectfully as well. Later in the program, we will look at some discipline skills that can help you teach your teen the importance of treating you and others respectfully. But for now, remember that how you treat them is the model you present for how they should treat you and others.
I have got to tell you about this weird dream I had last night. In the first part, I was like this princess, and my parents were, well, sort of my servants. They would wait on me hand and foot. Mom, bring me a soda. And she'd say,
do you want ice with that? What about some chips?
And before you know it, there'd be my soda. And if I wanted to go to the mall, I'd just snap my fingers and say, take me to the mall now, Dad. And he'd say,
Sure. Do you need some money?
But of course.
I'll bring the car around right now.
Didn't I tell you it was cool? Kind of reminds me of my cousin Tanya, though. Her parents are pretty much like that. And she's pretty much spoiled rotten, if you know what I mean. And not that much fun to be around. Anyway, part 2 of the dream wasn't nearly so cool. My parents had become these awful dictators, ordering me around and trying to run my life and stuff.
Jada, after you finish your chores, I want you to get upstairs and do your homework.
And don't make any plans this weekend. I need your help to get ready for the open house.
And no internet after 8 o'clock.
And no chatting with boys.
And no dating until you're married.
Well, you get the idea. Some parents can be such dictators. Like my friend Andre's dad. Boy, is he a tyrant. No wonder Andre's flunking school. He told me, he thinks he can run my life? Well, let's see him make me learn. Then came this third part of the dream, and my parents were so cool. They started giving me choices instead of orders all the time, and asking my opinion about things like I was a real person.
Jada, honey, which of these chores do you want to do?
Okay, why don't we have a short meeting about coming up with some guidelines for using the internet?
Honey, I need your help for a couple of hours this weekend to get ready for the open house. What would be a good time for you?
They asked my opinion and gave me choices, like they really cared about what I thought. And I started thinking, hey, maybe they aren't trying to run my life after all. In fact, I even chose 2 chores and didn't even mind the work that much. And then they actually listened to my reasons for needing 4 hours on the internet each night. Then we compromised to 2. Fair enough. Saturday morning, I've agreed to help my mom with the open house. Then I'm off to hang out with my friends, and everyone's happy. Pretty cool.
Taking time to have fun with your kids is a great way to enrich your relationship with them, and it can be one of the real joys of parenthood. Unfortunately, as our teens move towards independence and come to rely more and more on their peers, many parents back off in the mistaken belief that they're no longer wanted. Of course, when the relationship is full of conflict and hurt feelings, it can seem that way to both the teen and the parent. But this is when you most need to take time for fun together. You see, when you laugh together and play together, what you're really saying at an unconscious level is, I like you, and I like being with you. This is obviously a very encouraging message for both parent and teen. No wonder that so many relationships start out with doing something fun together. This week's family enrichment activity is to find something fun to do with your teen. It doesn't have to take all afternoon either. A board game, a sport, a hobby, a hike, any fun activity that you both enjoy. The key is to keep it lighthearted. This is not a time to talk about problems or have a confrontation. This is a time to relax and enjoy yourself in the company of one of your favorite people in the world, your teen.